Hey guys, welcome back to Academic Audit. This is episode 2 featuring my longtime student, Sally Rose.
Hi.
Yeah, she is a graduate of Page High School in Greensboro and headed off to UNC Chapel Hill, otherwise known as the University of North Carolina, for those of you who are out of state. She's planning on doing the Keenan Business School, which starts usually around sophomore, junior year. Is going to line up some prereqs to be able to go towards that, and has done obviously a lot of hard work in high school, including the IB diploma. Lot of hard classes in that program, as you know, and just a whole bunch of other things too. Has already had some experience with GTCC college courses too. So yeah, this is one of my hardest working students. So glad to have you on here.
Well, thank you so much for asking me to come on.
Yeah, I know this is fun. Yeah, so I guess the first thing I want to talk about, and just to explain to the people listening, is podcast is gonna go in 3 phases. So first phase is going to be, we're just talking about Sally's school background, what her process was throughout high school, going into college. The second phase is going to be talking about just where tutoring with me has fit into this and how that's helped the process potentially, or, provided some pacing for it. And then the third phase is talking more about, if there's anything, maybe you feel like you wanted to change in terms of like study habits or anything, how you might go about changing that for your own college career, but also how you may recommend changing that for upcoming students too.
Yes.
So,
okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
So yeah, let's, I guess, start with the first bit. Yeah, just kind of walk me through your high school experience, because you graduated from Canterbury, 8th grade, with a bunch of other awesome people.
Yes.
Went through Page. Just a lot of hard work. So just talk me through that and your general path you took too.
Mm-hmm. Completely. So obviously freshman year, there's not much you can do to branch out or anything.
Right.
You're pretty much set in like these specific classes unless you went to like Brown Summit or something. So, I just basically took generic classes freshman year. I was going into the advanced math track. So instead of taking math 2, I took math 3.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then my freshman year was the year they started doing AP Government as a freshman class. So that was basically,
was that the first year of that?
Yeah. That was like either the first or second.
Okay.
And so, I took that one AP class. It was fine. I don't think going in freshman year, I was completely prepared for that. So it was a little bit of a shock. And so I was like, oh, okay. But then obviously sophomore year, started taking a bit more APs, and then also the pre-calculus rather than math 3. Yeah, that was
big step up there.
That was
even though math 3 is kind of, it's like a pre-calc, it's still, I always tell people it's a big step up.
Mm-hmm.
So
and then the transition between sophomore year and junior year, I had to decide if I wanted to do the IB diploma program or do the GTCC track.
That's right, because I remember you were not fully set. It was kind of, you were kind of like deciding between the two for a while, but so chose IB.
I ended up choosing IB because, no matter what anyone says, and yes, it is very hard. Yes, it really, really sucks at some points, but that does get you into college.
Yes.
And it prepares you so well.
110%.
And I was so paranoid that I wasn't going to get in anywhere if I did this. And I also had a lot of teachers at Page come up to me and really, really, really kind of influence the IB program on me. And so I was like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to do it. And that's what my sister did. And so I was really just following her. And so I ended up choosing IB, and I don't regret it.
Swallow the bullet.
Yep.
Did the thing.
Do that pipeline.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really good for me, and it really taught me to work hard and to be on my A game about all my studies and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's another thing I was wondering, because it's, obviously IB is, it does have STEM stuff in it, but as obviously that there's tons of humanities and stuff that's not necessarily fully on the business, and especially the math pathway that you were taking, but was that almost kind of because I almost see an analogy with swimming, where it's kind of you do your swimming, but then you do the outside dry land work to help with your conditioning. Do you feel like was there any way that IB, just because of the workload and maybe the variation of stuff that you had to do, did that help with your STEM stuff, even though it wasn't all STEM stuff in IB?
Kind of. The most I can say about that, because I genuinely took no STEM classes my junior and senior year. I IB Earth, but
Oh, yeah.
that was more just like writing. It's not like we're doing like chemistry or like dissections or anything.
Very writing
Yeah,
heavy.
very,
Yeah.
very, very writing
Yeah.
heavy. But I mean, I still enjoyed that class. It was fine. So I mean, I guess it really just taught me that I needed to work and study like 10 times more through that program.
Right.
Rather
Okay.
than just like it being STEM focused. But I also wasn't super interested in like the STEM stuff of what I
Yeah.
could have done. Like I was never really interested in like the chemistry or bio that they had at Page.
Yeah, it was more so like specifically within STEM, it was more the math
Yes,
stuff that was going to like
definitely more
apply
math.
to business potentially. And that's another thing too, because I remember there was we'll get back to IB in a little bit too, but there was also just speaking of kind of transition points. I remember initially you were, especially sophomore and maybe part of junior year, you were really into the coding and
Yes,
like
yes.
computer science. Is that something that you more so it's either did you move away from it into business, or is that something that could also like you could keep up and that applies to business? Like, is that something that maybe when you go into college, like would you still take some more of those things, or
I mean,
was there a transition out of that?
obviously, computer science can completely apply to business and
Yeah.
certain pathways that people could take. Me personally, I have more moved on from that. It's just, I don't know. It's not really me anymore, and it's not something I super want to focus on. And I mean, it's extremely hard, and I just don't know if honestly I could even do it. So, because it's
a
so
lot.
hard. But I kind of, transitioned away from that and focused more on like physical math and physical aspects of business, like
Yep.
finance and stuff, rather than computing along with that.
Yeah, so there's a lot, and so a lot of for example, as a pathway that some people could take going through high school would be, very stats oriented, probably,
yes.
or and also IB math covers everything. IB math literally covers every core subject in math, which you did in HL. Then also calculus, because there's also blends in for future content and that applies to business and economics and finance. Calculus and stats also converge with one another in terms of finding area and things like that.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's so speaking of, I'm guessing that we're maybe signing up for business calculus. Are you doing business
No,
calculus,
because
stats?
I passed my calculus exam back in junior year, and so now I'm completely done with prerequisites for math.
Yep.
Like I had passed stats and passed calculus, and so now you have to take the prerequisites to apply to the business school are Busy 100 and then Econ 101.
Yeah.
And so I have to take those. But as far as like regular like high school math, I'm done.
Yeah, and do you feel like, are you glad that you did that? Because obviously you did the IB program, but it's kind of funny how you ended up doing a little bit of both too. Like there was some GTech, but didn't do the full GTech program or anything, but there were some credits mixed in. And are you happy that you took econ as sort of like, was it micro or macro?
I
that
took
you took?
microeconomics.
Okay, micro, yeah. Are you happy that you took that kind of going into potentially Econ 101 just as a little wake up call?
I knew
sorta?
what I wanted to do and like reach and try for the business school. And so I think taking microeconomics at GTCC has really like helped me and like hopefully, I mean I haven't taken Econ 101 yet, but will hopefully be like kind of a more easing in because I already know some stuff. And so I just have to like build on that information and hopefully it'll like come back to me when I'm trying to take that class and hopefully make it a little bit more simplistic. Because I've heard people do that in the past where they would take micro or macro during high school and then go into Econ 101 at any college that they're going to, and it would really help them like ease into that transition.
Yeah, because it's kind of that familiarity. Oh yeah. No, it covers a lot, and especially actually for any prospective UNC students, a lot of their intro econ classes, and I don't know if you knew this, but they combine micro and macro in the same semester. Not all of them. I think there are a few credits where they run it differently, but typically starts out micro, then goes into macro, in that order. Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, also another, this is kind of holds true also this whole, seeing getting a little bit of familiarity, then going into the class. Do you feel like taking calculus, then doing HL, IB math was also really helpful? Like calculus going into HL?
Yes. I mean, the only way you can take HL is if you've already taken calculus. And so having calculus, I think taking calculus in high school extremely helped me because calculus in college is hard.
Yeah.
Like that's 10 times harder than probably what I did or what.
Got a few of those students lined up this fall. So
Like
yeah.
that's hard. And so I'm very thankful to have taken that class and to have gotten that credit. And also taking Math HL really reinforced calculus on me. And so I'll still have that hopefully fresh in my brain for going into other maths at Chapel Hill.
Because no, seriously, because I've seen some of it play in some of the like corporate finance and other finance courses that may be part of the business program. I've seen applications of calc and stats, and also parts of algebra with pre-calc covers too, especially more on a kind of a college level vibe. Those all, they're not, you don't see a lot of them again, like in depth, but you still see it applied in some ways. And so that could be a big thing. Oh, and another thing I wanted to talk about too, is because obviously, had a lot of school going on, one of the hardest working people I know, part of that is sports, clubs, all those things too. I want to talk a little bit about study tactics that you had, maybe time management tactics and also even just your experience as a student athlete doing other activities.
Student athlete is a strong word.
Oh,
I never
yeah.
suck, but it's okay. But with study tactics, I remember I would be very, very, very paranoid in my calculus class that I wasn't going to do well.
I remember.
I wanted to do well so bad because, math is my favorite subject. It's what I want to do, something along the lines. And so with my math classes, if I had a quiz or a test coming up, I would put myself down and I would force myself to do practice problems over and over and over again for hours at a time. Like for one test, I was so paranoid, I studied for 5 hours. And I was like, this is far too much, but whatever. But I would just force myself to do practice problems over and over and over again because the only way you get better at math is by practicing. And I was like, you got to learn that. Like,
great,
you got to do that.
Because I keep telling people active recall or practice is so much better than rereading notes. Passive rereading of notes does effectively nothing. I mean, and in some cases it's nice because you get a little, familiarity with it, but there's also kind of some people develop this false sense of understanding when they get the comfort from rereading. They're like, oh yeah, I must know it. But you were proving to yourself when you would know something by practicing it and probably, to the point where you were getting it more, right more often than not and stuff. So that's really, so practice problems are so key. And I'm glad you were doing that. Were there other kind of unique things that you would do when you studied as, outside of just practicing? Were there specific, I don't know, techniques that you had, or would you take breaks here and there? Were there, I don't know, just things that were kind of unique to you when you were at home alone studying, for example?
At home, definitely. I would do, again, an hour of practice, and then I would pause for 15 minutes, and then I would do another hour. Calculus was a little bit more easier to study for than Math HL because it's specified in units, rather when Math HL is 4 calculus topics mixed into a single problem, and the only work you're doing is that one problem for 16 parts.
Yes.
But I would also use Khan Academy when I would do calculus because they have some great practice problems on there, and they have easy, medium, hard ones. And then when I would do Math HL, there's this site, I think it's called IB Revision.
Revision Village.
Revision
yeah.
Village,
That's the one we were kind of preaching for.
A ton of great IB math problems on there for both SL and HL.
So for you IB students, Revision Village.
Yes,
very
definitely
good.
use that.
Yeah,
that helped
definitely.
me a ton. And they have all different levels of practice problems as well.
Yeah, no, that's right, because they also, if I'm not mistaken, they have actual old papers on there with all the multi-part, especially the paper 2, paper 3 stuff with all the crazy parts A through H or something.
We were doing,
so
12-part questions.
No, seriously. That was a normal thing too. Yeah. No, then okay, so also the breaks, did you feel like that helped you give your brain a little reset? Would you get up, move around a little bit, kind of go get I don't know, food or water or something like that?
I would definitely recommend taking study breaks. Yeah, I would get food. I would try not to go on my phone because I feel like that would break my focus. So but I would go walk around outside and then come back and be like, okay, lock in, and then the second hour I would study, and then I would take another break, and then I would be on my phone, as a break, and so then I would go back, and I think that really worked for me, studying a good amount of time, but also taking breaks, and then realizing you're fine, you studied this for a while.
Yeah.
Stop freaking out. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, and no, and that's a great. I'm glad you're saying this because there's these things called, it's like the focus and diffuse state where you're like focus state, you're high gear, kind of like focused on this one thing and trying to learn this one thing, and then diffuse, you take a break, and then that's when your brain's kind of consolidating things too, and it's making the connections maybe to old material too, like adding the new stuff on the old material. And so also, speaking of the breaks, let's talk before time management, let's talk stress management too.
Ooh.
Did you have any? Because
that
obviously
girl.
oh yeah, so no, because I mean, here's the thing, there are always days where IB's tough. It can be a stressful thing, but like you said, it's so worth it. Typically gets you into amazing colleges, across the board. But did you have any like particular strategies for stress management, or sleep, or things like that, or maybe things you want to try? I don't know.
I was not the best at managing my stress throughout high school, and I would be like so freaked out all the time, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get a bad grade.
I could tell some days, by the way.
I'm gonna be, oh my god, like this is the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
But no, and I honestly, I just really needed to calm down. Like I was doing too much. Like I needed to take a break.
Well, where do you feel like that? Do you feel like it maybe came, like, was there a little bit of like, perfectionism in that too?
Definitely.
Where you're like, because you care, clearly you cared so much, and that's why I like, say you're one of my hardest working students, because
Thank you.
the heart was there, like obviously the smarts are there too, but also, was it part of that maybe, or just a lot going on too outside of school?
I think I was most stressed out junior year because you are so concerned about getting into the college you want to.
Right.
And so like every single grade counts.
Like AAA, it's all
like
about,
you're freaking out. And like that's basically what was going through my mind, is that, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get into college. Like I'm going to fail. Like, duh. But like, I just really needed to like take a deep breath, back away from that. You're going to get into college. It's okay. The world will not end.
Exactly. And it was also because, and it obviously, in the beginning too, obviously with some new calc units, it's like, sure, you may, in the very beginning, may not have felt great about the stuff, but then you felt amazing about it because the hard work still paid off despite how stressed you were at some days. It still paid off. And so that could be a good sign to, not only your future self going into college, but also other people who are about to do IB. It's like, you may feel stressed, but it's like putting in the hard work, still taking those study breaks. It's going to pay off in some form.
Yes.
Yeah. So you would still, you'd go in, it's like, oh, I'm going to fail this calc thing. And you get a 97 on it. So,
I was that kid who would say that.
But it it came from hard work.
Yes,
it didn't come from nothing, right?
So hard. It's not like I was doing nothing.
Yeah. And that's
a ton.
I'm so glad you did. And that's awesome. And then speaking of like time management, because we can kind of speak about the kind of the future plans in the later part of this, but the time management stuff, because I know obviously you had like sports, some clubs, like student council.
Yes,
you were like rep, and did you do rep?
Yeah, and then I was rep for freshman through junior, and then I was senior class president.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So, did you have any time management strategies specifically, or were things kind of naturally lined up time wise, or were there things that you did like, okay, I gotta try to get to bed at this hour, or I don't know, what did you do for time management, if there was anything?
I would have a more structured plan in the fall, because I played field hockey, which is a fall sport. And so I knew like I would have practice every day, and then like a game or an away game. And so I would make sure on the days that I had practice to study a little bit longer than the days I knew I had an away game, because I knew I wasn't going to get home till late, and you still want to be able to sleep well. And so I would really like structure that plan out. And then I got a little bit more relaxed in the winter and spring, because I don't play a winter or spring sport.
Yeah.
And then so I would just devote that time to studying. And then with clubs and everything, especially with student council, that stuff was mainly in the morning, besides like when we had like a dance and had to work throughout that week. But
okay,
I would just structure it out. But also,
that's right, planning the dances. It takes
a lot of the teachers know, and probably have a bunch of kids in student council, and so, and especially just on dance weeks, to make everybody happy, they want to like assign a ton of work. So that was also easier to
and the
navigate
cleanup
with.
after the night of too. So that's another thing that
Yeah.
always happened too.
That was so funny.
Yeah. So basically on a, like, just so I get an idea on it, like, so obviously on the seasons that you didn't have sports, it would be a lot of studying in the kind of the afternoon, I'm guessing.
Yes,
too. And then,
afternoon.
and then what about the days where you had the late games? Would you, because obviously it's kind of like school and then you get on the bus or whatever, go to the game. Would you study a bit later at night, or would you sneak some in somehow in the middle of the day or lunch break? That, like, how, like, when did the studying kind of get done in the busier
I sound
days?
like a nerd. I would bring my
This is
math
good.
books on the bus
Let it
and
all
like
out.
do more math practice on the
Oh my
bus.
God.
And like, oh my God, I would get clowned by my friends, but whatever.
But
I got that A. So
the clown antics paid off, so
yes.
that's really
and
good.
Then, I mean, when I would come home, if I didn't have a test or a quiz that week, I wouldn't do anything. But if it unfortunately lined up and I had a test the next day, I would kind of stay up later and study and do all that, and then kind of look over it in the morning and go take my test.
Yeah. Also, I noticed one thing. Did you feel like that? Because I feel like there were, on days that you had tests, it was great because it was either we were meeting up or you went to a class review or something that morning. Was that did you feel like that was sort of a good warm up for the test in a way?
Completely.
Like got you in because I always tell to people not to burn out study the night before because that's just overdoing it. But warming up, like I almost see it as warming up for like a sports game or something. And then you get in the vibe of it. Did that help?
Definitely.
Like,
the morning sessions, whether it would be with you or in my math class, those would help so much because I'd be freaking out the night before and then come in the next morning and do a math problem in front of me and like do it well. And then I'm like, okay, I know this. Like it's all coming back.
Yep.
No need to stress. So I definitely think morning sessions helped me a lot as well because that would just refresh everything in my mind.
And boy, did we do some morning sessions. Yeah.
A billion, like so many.
Awesome.
Oh
Yeah. So anything, I don't know, anything before we kind of move into phase 2, like anything else that you remember from your process that maybe you want to like suggest to people or in terms of like a pathway to take or how to figure that out?
So, I mean, if you know what you want to do in college or even after college, that's great. And obviously take that pathway. But I mean, a bunch of people don't.
Right.
More likely than not, you
and we got to
have no
address
idea what
that too.
you're
Yeah.
gonna
It's
do.
like, yeah.
And so, but I mean, just take the general thing that you're interested in. Like if you're interested in science, maybe you're thinking of becoming a doctor, especially through the IB realm, you could go the bio HL track. Or if you're not really into like science or math or anything, I mean, you have to take English HL, but you could do like philosophy and do more like kind of worldly view stuff like that. But if you want to do math, go math. Or if you're interested in languages, of course, there's Spanish HL as well.
Okay, guys, so now we're going to talk about tutoring. And so Sally and I have been tutoring for 4 years now and multiple times per week too.
Day one, yes.
Day one, definitely one of the day ones for sure. Yeah, I don't know, covered a lot of subjects, but also especially a lot of math, some standardized testing too, like all those things. So, and so sometimes even just, helping in the study process or being almost a study aid too. So, but what's the main, I would say, one thing I want to ask is what's the main thing that I have helped you with? Like, what's the biggest win with tutoring?
My math skills have improved significantly from the time when I was just like a little baby freshman and even middle school. I really struggled with math.
Yeah.
But having the privilege to see you like certain times a week would help me so much in math. And you would give great practice problems that I haven't seen before or like sneaky stuff that could come out and like how to tackle all of that. And I really think that my math has improved so much. And I would not be as good of a math student I am today like without your help.
Awesome. Okay. So, what about specifically in terms of math skills? Like, is it more just the breadth of knowledge? Because I'm sure obviously that's built up over the years, but do you feel like you've developed, I don't know, more of an intuition for math? Like when you see new things, or is it like in certain subjects, it, was, how I helped boost skills in certain subjects?
Yeah. So I definitely think that, you would help me see new ways to approach a problem if I didn't know it, like right off the bat. And so that would help me a lot, especially in HL, because there's so many concepts combining into one problem that you cannot look at it through just a straight view. You have to look at it from every single angle to figure out how to do it.
Yeah,
and
perfect.
That would help me a lot. And also just kind of doing it in like a I don't know how to say it, like a certain way. I don't know. It just helped. Like the practice problems would be so good.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
And
it's
I
kind
would know
of
what
like
to do
it was
with
not
that.
only that I would give you practice problems to try, and then it would be like almost a quiz format.
Yes.
But it was also then there were times where it was more of like okay, can we walk through this kind of thing?
Definitely. You're very good at explaining difficult stuff, and
like
that would help me
clear
a lot.
steps, stuff
Yes,
like that.
clear
Okay,
steps.
yeah, and that's a huge thing too, because I think a lot of people, a lot of teachers and actually students have this misconception where it's either you're thrown into a problem with nothing, or you're babied all the way through the unit. And it's kind of a combination I've found where it's kind of like, did you feel like the combination of, okay, maybe I'm going to show like 1 or 2 run throughs of this and then you start practicing them? Do you feel like that combination was effective?
I think
in a lot
so.
of
Yeah, because I mean, I would just be doing my math and then I would stop and ask you for help if I didn't know something. And then you would turn the paper around and like we would walk through the steps together.
Right,
And then
right,
I would
right.
be like you would get to a certain step of explaining. I'd be like, okay, stop. I'm going to try it here from here now. And then I would do it. And then I'm like, I need help again. And then we would go back, rework the steps, do everything. And you wouldn't just sit there and to like talk through it. You would write it down, show the math, show a different way to do it.
Right.
If like
Yeah. Okay.
my brain would work easier with doing this way rather than the standard way of tackling this problem.
Okay, that's good because you feel like there are a lot of days where maybe I would show even 3 or 4 different ways of doing it. It was kind of like it's like it's like an all you can eat buffet. Like I like this one the best or something,
Definitely.
that. Okay. So that's really good. And actually that also falls into standardized testing too, because I feel like now, especially with the advent of Desmos on standardized testing and then all these other tactics, that's it's nice when I guess y'all can have kind of a selection of things to choose from.
Definitely. I think that really helped.
Yeah, and then anything else about I don't know. So there's math, and then maybe we talk like the consistency of the schedule, or other subjects too. Like, was there anything in particular where tutoring kind of fit into that? Just I don't know whether it was
like
just
other
meeting.
subjects you helped.
Yeah, like other subjects, or something about maybe meeting consistently too.
Yes,
Did that
definitely meeting consistently.
at all?
I think helped a lot with math because I would have a schedule with my math and with practicing, and then meeting up with you would help a lot, and especially if I didn't get the homework the night before, seeing you in the morning would help a lot with that, and then it would like be locked in my mind, and so then I could grow from that and realize that skill. But I think that you also helped me a lot with chemistry because that was really hard.
Back in the day,
Whatever, but But I think you helped a lot with chemistry because also a lot of chemistry and a lot of science like that stuff. And I think you explained it also very well because chemistry is not an easy thing to explain, and especially if you know nothing going in. I mean, I didn't know any chemistry.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This is what I kind of want other, kind of upcoming high schoolers and going to sophomore year too to know is that, and you definitely identified that you basically just said this, is that chemistry, the high school honors chemistry, I'm sure you remember this, is it was very just a bunch of different things put together.
Yeah.
A bunch of different units. There's not, and they have to do it that way, but it's also the natural consequences that it sometimes gets confusing and overwhelming. And it's sort of like, maybe they'll hear the word stoichiometry and not know it's part of that unit or something. So so do you feel like that? Yeah. So maybe the higher frequency, like, meeting multiple times per week consistency maybe helped like upkeep with the different units that would constantly go by.
Definitely.
Because there's something new every week. So
yes, there is literally. I think, meeting consistently and multiple times, even on the weekends if I needed extra help would completely help me a lot and really reinforce topics and subjects and ways to do things in my head so that I wouldn't forget them when I'm taking a quiz or a test in the classroom. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like the tutoring would act as almost a consistent meetup that would also follow your kind of consistent at-home habits too and stuff like that. And then it was great though, because also sometimes, you would be feeling good. It's like, okay, awesome. We've done all this early work. I feel good. And then we would take off a few days too, because it's like, first of all, it serves as a break, and it's, you were already feeling good because you had already done all the hard, consistent work leading up to that
Yes.
too, which is awesome. Yeah. And then in terms of what about other subjects or, maybe even just like study advice? Like were there any like study ideas or techniques that I gave you, or maybe for other classes too that were part of the IB program?
Definitely again for math, I remember you would give me like hard practice problems to take home and work on them, especially when I'm studying for a test or a quiz or anything. So I thought that helped a lot. And then let's see, other classes.
Yeah. Oh, and real quick about the math, I think when I wasn't present, like if you were just at home, I think I told you about that thing with ChatGPT where you could like upload a picture of a problem and then you could tell it.
Oh yeah, you can
like,
ask it to
give
make
me
more problems.
more. Yeah, like it can self-generate a quiz for you and stuff like that. So yeah, that was just because I was like, oh shoot, I'm not going to be there that day, so I hope there's some other way to get practice. But yeah, other classes, anything with that.
I mean, obviously, like I would write on my papers. It would be nice for you. It was nice when we had you like proofread my paper, make sure there's no like grammar mistakes or anything. Because my grammar is like so terrible.
Okay, moving on to the last phase here, talking about future plans at Chapel Hill, and just reflecting on everything in general in high school, and just could even be part of middle school too. Just reflecting on going way back, who knows? But I just want to start with. Is there anything in particular in terms of just habits, or you could be study habits or time management, stress management, whatever, that you would change about what you did in high school if you had to go back and redo it?
Honestly, yes. Y'all do not be like me. Be organized, be structured. I have never owned a planner, like a academic planner in my life.
I just thought about that. I've never seen that.
I would like try to keep it in my head, like the work I had to do, and I would get home and I would do some of the work, and then I would go to school and be like, oh, I completely did not do this, and then I would be rushing to fit everything in, and I just get a planner, be organized.
Right.
And I would just I would be like, oh, I have this in my head, it's fine. And honestly, for the most part, I did, but when I didn't, it was bad. And then, like, you get a bad grade because you're turning something in later. I just didn't even have it on me.
Okay. And maybe that could have been causing some stress at some points, too. A little, maybe, like, rooted in a little bit of disorganization sometimes. So
consequences of my own actions. So don't do that.
So, but it's funny because there was so much work input that more than compensated for that. But okay, so just like organizational things in general. And then also, I don't know, was there anything just in terms of like getting in a zone for, because I know you said you felt stressed a lot of the time, especially before big like tests and, how about during tests?
Yes, I still have this extreme test anxiety.
Yep.
And honestly, it wouldn't even vary with subject to subject. No matter what subject it was in, I would still get so nervous and freaked out and everything. And I think what helped me and what I will try to continue to do in college to combat this is obviously just take deep breaths, take breaks, but still study. Because you're going to feel better if you know the subject. Yeah. You can't be so freaked out that you're making that excuse that you're not even going to do any work. Like, yes, you, like, don't be so freaked out, but the freaking outness also helps you get your work done.
Right. Yeah.
But just, like, I just needed to learn how to take the breaks, breathe. It's going to be fine. And that was mainly just the stress of getting into college, and it was so difficult to deal with that. Yeah. And so it's a lot easier said than done, but just try to calm down. I promise you it's going to be okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing is the work input repetitively with breaks in between just pays off so much. And actually, I was going to say, did you feel like speaking of those morning reviews that we were talking about earlier, did those help mitigate some test anxiety?
Yes, for the most part, unless I was like in a terrible state, I think it helped a lot because it would reinforce it in my mind, and I would be like, it's okay, I got this, I did it this morning. Yep. Just like reach back into that, remember.
Done plenty of work beforehand too, so it's
I just need to realize that I did study for this and that I know this material. And get out of my head. Just get out of your head, you know the stuff.
Step more into the confidence of I have put in the work and get out of your head in the moment, and just things like that too. And how about I don't know, was anything with a sleep schedule you'd change? I always ask this to IB students.
I don't really sleep a lot. Even now, I just can't. I'm just bad with sleeping. And I don't need that many hours of sleep to function personally.
Yeah.
But honestly, during the school year, and especially going into college, I'm definitely going to try to establish a sleep schedule for myself.
More consistent sleep schedule.
Because I feel like that just makes you feel better, makes you more productive, your memory's better. So I'm going to try to do that. But yeah, I would definitely recommend a sleep schedule. Again, be organized. Don't be like me.
Okay, so yeah, organization, just stress management. I've even been preaching some mindfulness to people, you know, to like get in almost like a meditative state, because it's really, all jokes aside, it's a really helpful thing. It can be a really helpful thing too. So maybe something to look into. And yeah, but speaking of future plans, what are you most excited about at Carolina, just your experience at Carolina going into it, and what are you planning to take?
Okay, so I guess for UNC, there are a bunch of, what are they called? Gen Eds?
Yep.
Something like that?
Core stuff.
Yeah, like the core things that you're required to take as a freshman, and then some are just in general. So obviously I have to take some requirements like a first year seminar, college thriving, like a data literacy lab. So those are like set aside. You have to take those. But I'm also taking Busy 100, which I'm excited for. Nervous, but excited.
Yeah.
And then I'm also taking, what is my other class? I don't even remember. But
Econ?
I'll take
Is that
try to take econ, try to get into it second semester.
Okay.
But those are my two business prerequisites that I have to even think of applying to the business school.
Yep. But hey, luckily all the math's out of the way.
Yes, all the math's out of the way, thank goodness.
Pretty good stuff. Yeah, I had a little preamble to, introduction to this because I ran into your mom when I was doing my weighted walk. So yeah, but that, no, that's great. That's great. And so that's like, this is the general looking ahead to freshman year, right?
Yes.
And this is going to be like, maybe obviously some of those first year seminar, first semester, that kind of thing. And then maybe econ second semester.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. And so trying to fit in, a lot of, are there any other credits that you know of that they're recommending for freshmen trying to go into the Keenan school that are, maybe would look extra good or
I mean, I don't know any of those as long as you have, because you can take, if you don't have your calculus credit going in, you could take regular calculus, or you can take business calculus.
Right.
And now when I went to orientation, I went to this like business interest meeting, like blah, blah, blah. They were like, a lot of people are transitioning, if you don't have the credit, to do business calculus rather than regular calculus, because it can it's not full calculus, so it's like, I don't want to say easier because I feel like it's not the correct term, but
well, I know with my students, the word problems have been business oriented. Yeah. So there've been the problems say things like revenue, profit, cost, things like that actually tie into econ and stuff like that.
Which can probably help you, with the econ track and all that stuff rather than just straight calculus.
Yep.
But I mean, if you're into calculus, do calc.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You get the credit either way.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you got your credits, that's for sure. So, another thing, just what are you excited about in general at Carolina? Just,
everything,
life,
I can't wait. Yeah. I mean, I have a bunch of friends going. That's good. Yeah. Meeting all new people.
A lot of Page people go. Football games, yep. And no, that's the thing is, because I always tell people, it's like, you got to actually want to live there for 4 years or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever you're doing there. But yeah, got to want to live there.
Yes.
So that is very important. But yeah, this is all really, really exciting. Can't wait to see what this next chapter holds.
Yes.
Just keep me posted on everything. And if you need help too.
Yes,
but
I probably will.
Yeah, I'm here for you. So yeah, thanks for coming on. This has been
so much.
awesome.